dwellings, he built two dwellings, a stone one and a wooden one. And in front of the wooden one, he dug this first well. And he got down 30 feet, and it was so hot in the hole, he had to lower buckets of sand and water down to put his feet in to keep digging. But a couple of things about the area, if you're not from here. Desert Hot Springs sits on the North American tectonic plate. The rest of the desert sits on the Pacific plate. So the water comes from snowmelt and Gorgonio, which is varied from 90 to 200 degrees. So Cabot is a very interesting man. He actually was born in North Dakota. It's actually a green building. He started building it in 1941. And you can see some obvious things he used: railroad ties, telephone poles. Cabot was an artist. He went to Europe to study art. This is not a true Hopi Pueblo. And people ask, well, why a Hopi Pueblo? There are no Hopi Indians. Pueblos do not have doors and windows. This has 150 windows. It has 65 doors, 18 open to the outside. It has 30 roof lines. It has 35 rooms, and we're not going through all of them, and 5,000 square feet. The floor here is made from an old buckboard floor. And we're going to go into the architecture gallery. Right here. All movie stars from Hollywood would come to this ranch for R&R. These are Cabot's parents, Frederick Yerksat and Nellie Cabot. So he took his name from his mother's maiden name. And Cabot was born a year later, and his brother Harry 2 years after that. These stores also manufactured cigars, as you can see these molds here. And this is the tent that they rented here. It was $150 a month. Everybody seen the Kodiak? Yeah. Wow. Anyway, stayed in Havana for a little while, but then they heard about the Isle of Pines, which is on the Caribbean side of Cuba, being not even mentioned in the land treaty, and they felt for sure it would become American territory. So they moved to the Isle of Pines, where they had a plantation. Yeah, however, the land was ceded back to Cuba, and everyone had to leave. And so they moved at this point to Seattle, and at this point they moved to Sierra Madre, California. They've got $10 lots in the desert, 160 acres. Let's go check it out. And this was 1918 now, so he decided to join the army at the end of the First World War. And he was in a tank regiment under Dwight Eisenhower. There's an invitation 30 years later to his inauguration to Mr. and Mrs. Cabot Yerksa. I'd like to show you this very beautiful pottery. This is Cabot's bachelor kitchen. And this is a great place to see that retaining wall I was telling you about outside. It starts here, 75 feet right to the end of the Pueblo. And Cabot made it very whimsical, this wall. As you'll see, if you turn around, he would cement these jars into, and he actually attended the Académie Julian in Paris and a couple of academies in London. Came here and he built the first spa here in Desert Hot Springs. Now Cabot and Portia, they lived quite happily here for 20 years. Now Cabot died in the kitchen. He was 81, and Portia actually didn't want to stay here with us. And this telephone in here was put for Portia because he wouldn't have one. This is their marriage certificate here. They were married in 1945. If you look in the bathroom, she has a shower in the corner, left corner. She ordered this for the kitchen. There's even a drop-down table. Now, remember when you have a perm? You put these things in your hair with lotion and turn the power on. You wouldn't catch me doing that. He also made her a walk-in closet. And I don't know if they were the books that Portia wrote, and she was married a few times, so there's a beam in the bathroom. You cut the door out. Anybody have any idea why he wouldn't finish this door? I think the animals must have stayed here. No, actually, he entertained his neighbor and other friends in here. they like natural surfaces. And Portia didn't really like this room. She used to sit on these stairs, and they play music on that old Victrola there, which goes back to 1912-13. So he may have had it in his previous little house here. But there's another reason too, that the southwest effect of spraying down a floor like this and tamping it down will become like concrete. So probably both things apply. So the bedroom cubicle you've all seen. Following that, he built this fireplace, and he put a vent into that cubicle. He's from the Chumash tribe of Santa Barbara. He was here a lot giving tours. And he actually carved this. It's a very, very political piece. It's called A'aota, and it means two-faced white man. And it's showing the winking and the terrible treatment of Native Americans during that period. Right behind the hole is an Indian head. Have you all seen it? Oh, yes. Now that was carved by Peter Toth. It's number 27. So it's an interesting thing to look at. It's 47 feet in total. The main log is a sequoia, which came down in a storm, and they brought it here to this courtyard. And the feather is a 9-foot piece of cedar from Idaho. And the gentleman, he carved that on his honeymoon in our courtyard. Back of the Pueblo, there are a couple of other rooms that are open. So
He buried twice then.
he did. Yeah. And he had the one child. And Rodney came back actually with his wife to help him with that last room in the end, because you saw those telephone poles. Very, yeah, very good.